QRS
I'm going to start off with the preliminary comments as Karen indicated, and then we will open it up to Q&A. Let me just start by introducing magnetic fields in general, then I'll talk about the QRS specifically. Basically, the most important concept to understand about magnetic fields is the body is completely transparent to a magnetic field. As far as a magnetic field is concerned, it does not exist. The body does not block a magnetic field to any degree at all. And therefore, magnetic fields can be very active in the body without actually touching the body or actually taking over the body as well. This lends itself then to a major new type of therapy, which is completely non-invasive. It's non-toxic. And as that kind of a therapy, it stimulates the body's own forces for healing. These kinds of systems, once you purchase them, tend to be reusable, unlike pills or going to a physical therapist or going to doctors or acupuncturists. Once you've acquired one of these systems, you can continue to use them. They are completely natural in the way they act on the body. They use the body's own, what I call electromotive forces. They move around electrical forces within the body, which then create other benefits to the body. Many of these systems are now available for use either in the home setting or in the professional environment. They typically are also complementary to other therapies. They can be used alone, but they are also very, very valuable when you use them in conjunction with other kinds of therapies, whether it's herbs or medications, or surgery, or physical therapy, etc. So it really is very, very complementary to other therapies. There's a large body of evidence, biologic evidence, that indicates that magnetic fields are significantly active on biology, despite what you may get from other cynical people. It's just intuitive that you would understand or expect that the body being not only a chemical apparatus, but being an electrical apparatus. And I mean electrical not in the sense just because there are nerves, but also because there are acupuncture systems which are electrical, because our body's water, and we're about 70% water, is actually not pure water. It's actually electrolyte solution. As you know, electrolyte solutions in batteries generate current. There's a flow of charge in the body as a result of those electrolytes. And the magnetic fields interact with those systems then to produce their actions, or electromotive actions in the body. When you look at magnetic fields, they can be very confusing, particularly pulse magnetic field systems, because there are a number of factors that you have to consider. You have to consider the strength of the magnetic field. You have to consider what we call the gradient, the degree of change of the field over the distance of exposure, like say to a body, to an arm, whatever part of the body you're having to treat. You have to consider the frequency of the waveform that is generated by the magnetics, the shape of that wave, the rapidity with which that wave changes, the length of the duration of the actual pulse itself, the frequency pulse, the length of time that exposure lasts for, the amount of tissues you're going to treat, and whether you use local therapies or you use the generalized therapies of the body. That's another factor in considering how you use polarity. When we get to the QRS, you'll see that polarity is not important, but in some cases polarity could be important. And then the directionality of the field itself. There are many terms that are used to describe the strength of a magnetic field. The most commonly used term is Gauss, G-A-U-S-S. And in the scientific literature, most people now talk about Tesla as the scientific measure of field strength. And 1 Tesla equals 10,000 Gauss. An MRI machine generates anywhere between 2 to 4, maybe 6 Tesla. So you're talking about 20,000 to 60 or 80,000 Gauss. Huge, huge field strength. Some magnetic devices produce fields that are in the range of what we call millitesla. So that 1 millitesla is approximately 10 Gauss. I'm sorry, 1,000 millitesla is approximately 10 Gauss. There are other fields that are described in terms of microtesla, nanotesla, and now we even have what are called picotesla fields. So we're talking about thousands, billions, or trillions of a Gauss. Just to put this into perspective, the Earth's magnetic field is about a half a Gauss. I mentioned that an MRI is somewhere around 20,000 to 40,000 Gauss typically. The body's own magnetic field, the body, if you block out the Earth's magnetic field, the body produces magnetic fields. And those magnetic fields are in the order of 10 to 100 nanotesla. Basically anywhere between 100,000 to 1 million of a Gauss. Static magnets, like for example fridge magnets or shoe inserts that you see advertised or used or sold, are anywhere between 1 millitesla to 200 millitesla. In other words, from about 10 Gauss to about 2,000 Gauss. Magnetic fields lose their strength as you advance from the surface of the magnet. So a typical magnet could be 1,000 Gauss at the surface, but 2 inches away, or I'm sorry, 2 centimeters away, or about 1 inch away, you actually lose about 80% of the field strength. So that's often an important consideration. If the body needs more energy, the magnetic system that's being used may have to be cranked up, what we call the amplitude, or the field strength has to be increased in order to be able to generate the response that you want at the level of the tissue that you're working with. In a sense, the easiest and the softest fields, magnetic fields that act on biology, are what we call static fields. For example, shoe inserts. More pronounced are alternating fields. The strongest fields in acting on the body are actually pulsed fields. So if you want strong fields, but you want to produce a gentle effect, then the way to do that is actually to reduce the strength of the field.
Quantron
and you can still get the benefit of the pulse field, but you also get a softer response in the body. The way pulse magnetic fields act on the body is that they cross across the cell membrane, they wash across the cell membrane. And by doing that, what they actually do is they increase the energy capacity of the cell through a chemical called ATP. They stimulate the mitochondria, which are the energy packets in the cell, to produce ATP. They increase the oxygenation in the cell. They increase the voltage potential at the cell membrane, which often is decreased, particularly in degenerative processes like osteoarthritis or wear